Hello and welcome back to the third round. This is the final episode of the Layout 2025 series. Last time we made a few signaling changes on the main lines and we added a few scenic touches with the installation of a level crossing, a backscene and some accessories. Today we will be running trains in different scenarios to demonstrate some of the capabilities of this temporary layout, and we'll finally see what all the fuss was about. For your reference, links to the track plan in several formats are available in the video description, but it has remained static for the last few episodes now. Last thing before we set off, if you end up liking this video, and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe and alert button before leaving today. Super thanks are also available if you feel the content deserves it. Whatever the option you choose will be much appreciated. Many thanks. Now, let's head over to the room. And there we are. There is a bit of everything on the layout today because I wanted to test the behavior of different types of rolling stock. But before things start moving, let me catch you up on a few things I did since the last episode. I have made a few changes over there by the station. I have installed an additional backscene and assembled a few more houses. They are all from Schreiber Bogen again. On these ones though, I have added all the optional bits, such as dormers and chimneys. Check these roofs out. And for the backscene, I bought a mirrored version of what I'd used along the wall to extend it to the side. I have also added a white panel to hide the mess behind it. In the station we can see a few models I have prepared. My choice is not an accident. I tried to emulate the illustration from the Märklin track plan that inspired this layout. We have this picture, and here's my version. Pretty close, isn't it? Then here with Märklin's version on the left. And now the full view from the side of the layout. Pure nostalgia. On the other end of the layout, I have put together a mini scene with a few houses and a factory. The crane will just be used for decoration and remain disconnected. That's about it for the scenic touches. The last thing I did was to tidy up the transformers on the operator's desk. They are now recessed. I have simply cut a hole and added a support under the baseboard. This makes for a tidier workspace on the surface. Okay, time to have some fun. Here is the customary disclaimer for running session videos. I have updated it a bit to reflect the state of this layout. I am going to stay as close to real time as possible so you can get a feel for the operations. Now, I'm still learning the controls, and as far as filming is concerned, I have a few things to figure out, such as lighting or the better angles. All this will come together over time, I hope, but today you might see the odd bit of shaky or underexposed footage here and there. So, we're going to start in the depot. Look, I've installed the glazing and the roof in the transfer table cabin. Looks better. So, we're gonna start with this little shunter there. We're gonna take the coal wagon and hopefully move it to the coaling plant track there. So let me start by setting the points. And we're gonna go and get the coal wagon And now move to the entrance of the coding plan track. Hopefully the points are set properly. Yes, we've made it. Now I need to set the crossing, and we can reverse into the little siding. We're going to switch angle to have a look at the uncoupling. There we go, we're done. We're going to push the wagon back a bit and move back to the entrance of the depot so we can get ready for our next mission. Now, with the same shunter, we are now going to go to the terminal to pick up some empties, which are prepared there, waiting for us. Okay, so I'm going to need to get myself ready. In my application, I built a few creature comforts in the form of routes. So I've prepared one that goes between the entrance of the terminal and signal 45. There we go. The points are being set. And with that done, I can use the transformer I use for the depot to travel all the way to the terminal. Look at that, we're moving. Now we're gonna couple ourselves to the empties. Oops, that was a bit harsh. Now we need to bring those empties to the depot, to the long siding, and that will be via signal 36. So here again I have another route. If I find the button, and the points are being set. And I can now move the shunter to signal 36. Alright, now I need to set the point so I can get into the siding I want to get to. That's it. We can now move into the siding. Alright, so we're gonna move over the uncoupler there. Then leave the empties where they are. And we are going to move the shunter to the parallel track. And leave it by the signal so that it's ready should I want to use it a bit later on. Cool. So now that we have the depot open, we're going to take the rail bus that's at the station, and we're going to move it to that empty track in the depot area to make some space. So again, I need to change my route. We're going to go via signal 45. And I think my points are set. Let me just check. No. So let me quickly set everything. And with that done, we can move the rail bus to the other side of the layout. Oops, I forgot one crossing. Let's reverse, set the crossing, around, and try again. That's it. I think we need a bit more juice. There we go. Okay, let's close the track. And we're done. And now we are going to move the historic train to the empty siding we just cleared with the rail bus. So we're going to set signal 35 to green and all the points we need. And with that done, we should be able to get the train on the siding. There we are. Let me close the siding now, set the signal to red. And now we are going to move the TEE RAM to the inner loop. There we are. And we're going to send it to signal 7. Make it wait there for a bit. Now that we are done, we still need to get one locomotive out for the little freight train at signal 15. We're going to get a locomotive from the transfer table. So I fast forwarded through a bit of movement because it's a bit of a slow accessory. So we can get the locomotive on the bridge. That's it. And now we're going to go all the way back in real time so that you see how long it takes. Noisy thing, isn't it? See, it takes a fair bit of time. And we're nearly there. Okay, so let's send the locomotive to its consist. Now I've chosen beer wagons because they're tricky. They're not the best at staying on the track, so that's going to be a good test for the layout. Alright, we're here. I'm going to have to move it back a bit. Change the direction, set the signal back to red so that it's ready for the next step. And the next step is mini block systems. So I'm going to set the route on the loops. See, we're hearing a few points changing now. And I've prepared a scenario. And we can have 4 trains, I think, with this one. With one block system on the outer loop and one block system on the inner loop. There we are. Those Umbauwagen are also very tricky. It's 3 axles. They're very sensitive to uneven track joints. So they're also a good test. And the beer wagon so far seem to stay on the track. While everything's moving, we're going to do one more movement. We are going to get this locomotive out of the locomotive shed. Oops, there we go. Now we're going to move it to the pull-out track. So we're going to go left or right. No, the other right. Where this is happening, things are still moving on the loops. Again, we're going real time here. So it's as slow or as fast as it gets. And now we're going to move onto the pull-out track. There we are, and we are gonna fill up the smoke generator. There we are, we are done. Let's give it a quick pause to see if it's working. Yeah, it is. Okay, so we're going to reverse back and wait at the shunting signal a bit further up on the siding. There we are. Now we're going to swap locomotives. So in the station we have a train waiting, so I'm going to open the depot and set signal 2 to green, then use the uncoupler, and we are detached. Excellent. Now we're going to move over signal 36 to the entrance of the turntable. Now that we are there, we're going to move into the shed. There we are. And we'll move the bridge to an empty position to make sure the locomotive stays put. There we are. And now we can move the locomotive we just pulled out to signal 2 in the station. Now let's get attached, coupled to the train. That's it. Excellent. We're ready to go. So with that done, we can now do a few more things with the block system. So I'm going to stop everything, then set the route for the long block system we set up in one of the episodes in the series. And after activating the scenario, we now have 5 trains following each other. There we go. You have seen a representative sample of what the layout can do. Things are running reliably here, but the filming of this video wasn't as plain sailing as I would have wished. I came across a few snags, from switching tracks needing some adjustment to failure of crossings, which was very infuriating. I mentioned earlier in the series that a lot of the stuff I am using on this layout is out for the first time under my ownership, so this wasn't a real surprise. I already have a little list of things I need to fine-tune, for example the strength of the braking modules, which I think needs to be dropped by about a volt so I can run trains a bit slower. The ride is also not as smooth as it could be in places, so a few compensation bits need adjusting or swapping out here and there. But at that stage, I can already say that this layout is delivering on many levels. Its shape drags the operator in the middle of the action. Sitting at the controls, all you see in your periphery is track and moving trains. This makes for a very immersive experience. The play value is also great. There are so many possibilities, from simply sitting back and watching trains to complex maneuvering. And if you are not bothered about passing signals the right way, you can simply set everything to green and guide a train at random using the many routes on offer. This layout simply wants you to interact with it, and the temptation to press a button is never far away. So I am feeling pretty good about my project. I will now freeze the configuration for a few months, do a bit of fine-tuning here and there, fix what is inevitably going to break, and build up my confidence operating the layout. This means spending plenty of time running trains. That would be it for this series and today. It has been a pleasure sharing my little journey with you over the last 6 months. Thank you so much for following my progress during that time. I hope you enjoyed the video, hopefully enough for you to give it a like, maybe subscribe if you haven't already done so, or even send a super thanks my way if you feel the video was worth it. Thanks as ever for all your support, and bye for now.